Hey guys, it's Jennifer with the Shooter's Mindset, and we are live with episode 405. We have our co-host tonight, Greg Cannon. How's it going?
Pretty good. How about y'all?
Doing well. And our guest of the hour is Derek Webster. How's it going, Derek?
It's going well. How are you, Jennifer?
Doing well. So we're going to talk a little shooting, PRS, a little DI precision, a little bit of everything in this show. So for anybody that's maybe unfamiliar with you and doesn't know, doesn't know you from matches or whatever, or from DI Precision, can you tell them a little bit about yourself, how you got into shooting, and, kind of how things are going in the sport these days?
Sure. Yeah, I do. Well, my name is Derek Webster. I live in Montgomery, Texas. And, something I don't really mention very often is how I got into shooting, which is pretty cool. I grew up in a bench rest type family. When I say that, I mean that my grandfather was a bench rest shooter and my uncle, they were all in the bench rest. And at the time, I was young. I just grew up on the range, picking up brass for them and that kind of thing. So I thought it was cool, being at the range. And as I got older, I realized they were just basically having me stay out of their hair while they were shooting just to pick up random brass. But that's kind of how I cut my teeth. My dad, my grandpa were always reloaders, and so I've been around rifles and precision rifles for a long time. I joined the military when I was 17, right out of high school, and when I got out of the military, I was just wanting to learn how to shoot far, and so shooting holes in paper at 100 just wasn't doing it for me, and I was in a situation where I had a deer walk out of my life at about 350 yards, and I just didn't feel good about the shot. So that kind of lit a fire under me to figure out how to shoot further, and so led me down this road.
So now that you're where you are now, would you make that shot?
Yeah, I'd probably make that shot. Yeah,
I make a headshot.
Yeah, it actually makes me kind of sick to think about some of the deer that I've passed on a long time ago. But when you don't feel good about it, you don't feel good about it. Now, I actually don't even hunt much anymore. Just because matches kind of consume your life when you get involved here. So I don't spend a whole lot of time hunting anymore unless I'm night hunting coyotes or pigs or something like that.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've shot a few matches in PRS, so you just had your first win at a 2-day Pro Series match. Tell us about that. Tell us where it was. Tell us about the match itself, and the competition and how you came out on top.
Sure. Yeah. It was a home range for me. Prentice and Corey K put the match on, and everything was super familiar. I got to bring my family, and I brought the camper and the new baby, and so the family was there the whole time. I felt really comfortable, and the course of fire was pretty standard. I mean, I've shot off all these props since 2016, and so there's a couple new ones, obviously, but the course of fire was a little bit different in regards to he had a little bit more movement. I think there was at least 3 stages, maybe 4 stages that had 10 or 11 shots and 11 positions, so you had to be pretty efficient, and so that kind of made it fun, made it interesting. I got to shoot with Jonathan Berry, and that was a lot of fun. Me and him don't get to shoot very often together, so he was running a 7 PRC, shooting 180 grain bullets at 30-50. So that was a blast to watch. Just was a lot of fun, and kind of went into it with a little bit different mindset than most matches, which is cool. We're on Shooter's Mindset because I think that had a lot to do with me putting 2 good days together. And I just went in the match instead of saying I was going to shoot really good or I was going to try to win the match. I actually told somebody, I said, I am not prepared to win this match, but I am prepared to not miss a shot. So I'm just going to try to not miss shots at all. And then hopefully it comes together at the end. And luckily,
that's one way to win.
Yeah, right. Like who was it? Happy Gilmore said it's a lot easier when you get the ball in the hole the first time. You don't have to putt or chip or anything, right? But day one was pretty sporty. The way this match was designed, it was actually different than previous matches. Normally, you would rotate to the other side of the match. This time, you had guys that would start and finish on that side, and guys that started and finished on the other side. So we all shot 95 shots, just a different course of fire. And the course of fire was a little bit challenging on day one, just because we had some really strong winds, and it was picking up and letting off at about a 1 o'clock, 1:30. And I just got lucky and kind of figured it out pretty quick, and just stayed on top of it, put a lot of focus into it. Normally I can't focus good enough to tie my shoes. So, it was that was the challenging part for me. And I think at most matches is try not to make mental mistakes and just stay focused and stay on top of my game. But yeah, I did really well on day one, and that's what I think made my match for me. So
But did you load your ammo before you got there or on the trailer hitch of your truck?
hey, fresh ammo is the best ammo, right?
Amen.
So that story, for anybody that doesn't know, is one year at the AG Cup, Derek was out in the parking lot loading his ammo. He attached the press to his trailer hitch and loaded ammo out there.
You gotta do what you gotta do times you need. And I didn't have enough brass to shoot 3 days worth of matches. So, and actually the real story behind that was the weekend prior, I shot a match in North Carolina, I believe. And I didn't go home in between. And I had planned on shooting another rifle for the cup. Well, Swaggy Valley, I think, is where Phil has a place somewhere over there. And I shot through a shot marker and realized that the ammo that I had shot at the previous match was way better than the ammo that I had planned on shooting at the AG Cup. So I kind of made a mistake there. So I had to prep all that brass, and luckily I brought all my reloading stuff just in case. But yeah, got into a little pickle there. And then it was kind of fun at the match, because as you make it to day two and you make it to day three, it was a little bit different structure then. Remember, they were knocking people out after day one. So it was like a reward to get to go back and reload. And so I thought that was kind of fun, and you didn't want to count your chickens before they hatch and load for the third day, so I'd only load enough to shoot the second day,
Yeah, don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, that was cool how they did that. I do like the new structure a little bit better. I think it's a little bit more fair, I guess, for a guy to slip up on day one, come back on day two. But yeah, it was a good time.
So I loved your post about this win, because you put in there that it took you 7 years and 47 matches to get to where you are now. I think so many people do not realize how much practice and time it takes for someone to come out on top of one of these matches, because there's so many talented shooters out there. So I'm sure that along the way, with all of those 47 matches, you probably had a match or two or three that were learning experiences that kind of helped you grow. So think about and tell us about the match that was your biggest learning experience and how that helped you come across the podium with the win.
I think that if I had to pick one match that was the biggest learning experience, it'd be Regina's match out in Arizona. And Arizona, right? Yeah, that's where it's. She held a match, I don't know, probably 3 years ago now.
At Gunsight?
No, it wasn't at Gunsight. It was at another place. I remember we had to wear eye protection. I do remember that. And Jake Vibert was there. He was actually in my squad. And so I got to shoot alongside him the entire weekend. And Jake is a stud of a shooter. He's been doing this a long time, and it's very effortless for him. And so watching me drop one or two shots to him every couple stages was just like a grind to my conscience, right? And I was sitting here feeling like, man, I am just getting my butt whooped at this match. And one thing that it taught me, and I kind of gave up, to be honest with you, a little bit. He really, it's not him. I guess it was just me that just gave up mentally at that match. And then when we were done and I saw where I finished, that was so stupid of me to do that, because I would have finished top 5 if I wouldn't have quit, you know? And I didn't quit. I just kind of didn't put forth the focus and the effort that I should have. And so that taught me a whole lot about not worrying about what anybody else is doing, worry about your own game. And this is not, a quick deal. This is a marathon throughout the weekend, and you just grind out and get as many points as you possibly can and let the cards fall how they fall. And so that was probably one of the best things I've ever taught myself, or learned from a match, was don't quit, and just keep hustling and keep grinding, trying to get every point you possibly can. And now I absolutely love those type of matches, because they tend to, rough people up a little bit. And if you're not strong minded, and you do quit on yourself, that just benefits everybody who's still in the zone. And I feel like you basically, you get what you earn at that match. Whatever you put into it, that's what you're going to get out of it. And so that was a really good one. And then during COVID times, you could get flights for like $100 round trip to anywhere in the country. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And I had just gotten out of the oil field, had a lot of time on my hands. And I said, you know what? I'm about to get jiggy with it here and start flying to all these matches and go shoot at places that I've never shot, that I want to go check out. So I went and shot Vibbert's match up in Washington. I went and shot War Rifles, had a good podium finish at both of those. And just, I wanted to kind of build my shooter resume, if you will, and just get as many looks at this sport as I could, to try to become more of a well-rounded shooter and not just stuck in my own little box over here in Central Texas, so that there's a bunch of good ones, and I wish that I could say that certain matches stuck out at me. War Rifles is a really great match to go shoot if somebody wants to learn some stuff, because he puts on a really sporty match there, and you got to stay on top of it, and you'll get what you got coming to you at that match as well. But there's certain stages throughout this little journey that have stuck out at me. Certain shots that I've made, certain shots that I missed, and now know why I missed. Those images and those memories are implanted in my brain. I think about them all the time. And sometimes when you're caught up in a match, you don't think about the types of shots that we're making under a crunch time frame. And then later on, when you get to kind of sit and think about it, man, it's impressive what we're capable of with these long guns now. I think we kind of just get it gets lost in the mix when you're just shooting matches and everybody high fives, you go home, everything's good, you go to the next one. Man, I shot the Philip Vallejo put a match on for up in Wyoming, Cody, Wyoming, and we shot off this plateau, and it was like 270 degrees of shooting direction. And I remember we shot these elk targets, and I think they were the size of coyotes. They were elk shaped. They were more like big coyotes or wolves, and they were 1,200 yards away. And it was just crazy how close our first round impacts were to the center of that elk, and that stuff just will never leave my brain. So that's the kind of stuff that I want guys to experience in our sport, that, and obviously the camaraderie. But yeah, that's,
I think the first one that you were talking about with the, getting down and thinking, oh, I'm not doing well, and kind of giving up on yourself. I think that is one of the biggest things in the AG Cup, because I see guys that are good shooters that are not used to not cleaning stages, right? With the exception of this year, whenever somebody cleaned all of them. But it's hard. Those are hard matches. And I see guys that, they have a bad stage, they get a 6, and then they're like, man, I'm out of it, because a lot of matches, it's so tight that if you drop a shot, you've gone down 10 spaces, right, in the finish.
Yeah.
And so to see these guys that are used to one shot being the deal breaker, and they kind of give up on themselves and think that they're not doing well, or I would go and interview, how do you think how's it going? Oh, I'm doing terrible. I'm just doing terrible. And then, you get to the end, and they made the cut. They were doing fine. So I think it's interesting, the perspective and what that does to people's mindset, because you're right, mindset is a huge part of it.
It really is. It's the hardest thing to train. I do a lot of training, and that's the hardest thing to get through to people is their how their mind works, and how they should approach a stage, and if they don't do good, how to delete that immediately. You know what I mean? And or just take the positives from it and apply it to the next stage. There's a really good book out there called With Winning in Mind by Laney Basham, and that's a great book for any competitor. But I'm dumb, so I listen to the audiobook on my way to work. So I kind of cheated. It's a phenomenal read or listen, and there's a lot of good things in there. But some of the stuff he talks about is not worrying about the bad stuff that happened. Just focus on the good and just apply it and approach everything like you're going to be successful in it. And confidence is huge. Just do what you're supposed to do, and the results will follow.
Those are all very true points. I think mindset is probably one of my weakest links as a shooter. I'm just so squirrel brained that during the course of a stage, I'll be, okay, don't do that dumb thing you did last stage. Okay, yep, dope styled. Chicken would be good for dinner on Monday. These are really comfortable shoes. Okay, now pull the trigger.
Yeah, exactly. We're all shooters, competition shooters, but we got so much going on. You're moving, Jennifer. A lot of people are having babies and moving and new work, and trying to find balance.
Not having babies.
Well, okay. Some of us are.
That.
Hey, me and Matt Caruso keep cranking them out, so we'll change the world one kid at a time here. And John Kyle, obviously. Yeah, it's just finding that ability to stay focused with all the chaos and balance that we've got going on in life is a hard thing to do, and to be able to clear your mind enough to stay focused when these matches is super impressive. You look at guys like Morgan King, who just keep crushing match after match. It's truly amazing what he does with everything he's got going on. I wish we could dissect his brain and figure out how all that works, but that's the challenging part for me, and I think a lot of shooters, is just trying to find balance and stay focused.
So let's transition a bit away from the mindset to gear a little bit. In particularly, every match I see you at, you have the prettiest MPA chassis. Who makes them look so good? How do you do it? Is it something that we can take one of our existing chassis and send? Can we just call you and say, hey, what do we got to do to get something so hardy?
Yeah, so Outlaw Anodizing in Houston, they're an anodizing shop that I think they really, their bread and butter is they do these amazing jobs on paintball guns and a lot of AR parts and things like that. And Keith Rudisil actually kind of introduced, I think, Outlaw to at least me and a lot of the other shooters. And so we just kind of grab the bull by the horns and just, keep pushing the limits on what they can do. And I told them that I wanted a Louis Vuitton chassis, but I wanted the background to be camouflage and Louis Vuitton to be gold. And sure enough, that's what I got. I was like, wow, I did not expect, I thought y'all were going to tell me to pound sand, but no, they came through with it. And the amount of people across this country that have stopped me on my way to another stage, be like, dude, let me take a picture of that, send it to my wife, she's going to freak out. That stuff's cool, man. And, don't get me wrong, tactical colored rifles are great, right? Neon green ones are cool. Yeah, I know. I thought you were going to brag. but I like stuff that sticks out. And I like stuff that draws attention to the product and draws attention to the sport. And if I can, occasionally make these little, Instagram reels and tie it to some music and it looks cool and maybe draws somebody into it, that's the goal here, is to grow this thing. So anyway, Outlaw Anodizing does all of the anodizing work that I get done. And if anybody's interested in getting some done, they can go straight through Outlaw, or they can contact me at DI, and we can get you set up. Probably better to go through me. That way it's just easier for them. But by all means, you can contact Outlaw and get your own stuff done too. We've kind of figured out some things, especially with the high polished ones. We try to polish those in house to speed the process up, and things like that. So, they've been pretty good to us. They've been knocking them out pretty quick. So
That's really cool. My entire life before the competitive shooting world was paintball. I started playing when I was 8. I worked in the industry from when I was 14 until I was 26. And it's like, we were doing stuff like that back in 2003. There were guns with like a graveyard scene anodized on it. You had of course, the Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all sorts of wild stuff. And then of course, just your standard acid wash and splash patterns. And it looks so freaking sweet on a rifle chassis.
Oh yeah. Well, and they stick out like a sore thumb too. I mean, the amount of ROs that have been like, dude, who did your paint job? That's what everybody calls it, a paint job.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people don't know about this anodizing stuff. And so yeah, when I tell them, and then not only that, but just, man, stuff holds up so good.
Mm-hmm.
Not to take away from other coatings and stuff, but that anodizing just, man, it just wears so good over the life of matches. Even sitting your buttstock down in rock piles and all that stuff, it's still just really, really good looking at the end of 60, 70 matches. It still looks awesome. So
I mean, I got a gun that was anodized in 99 or 2000. And playing paintball, you're taking this thing and sliding with it, diving with it, beating the ever living crap out of it, and it still looks fresh.
Really,
I don't know, I haven't pulled it out of the bag in like the last 5-6 years or so, but when I put it in there, it looked real good.
Yeah, they do great work. We just did one for Brandon Jennings out in West Texas. He had one. He did the Rasta camo. So if you go on Instagram, you'll see the Rasta camo one. And I did a Bob Marley song to it, and it looks freaking sweet. So yeah, I love doing them, man, because it's always like a box of chocolates when they open them up and you put them together, and you're like, oh, this is sweet. Mine, I've actually got 2 right now that I've got 3 that I've had done, but my primary now is called they call it Wildberry, but I told them what I wanted was blue and I want purple just kind of dripped on it like it's been rained on, and so I could call it Purple Rain. And so did that one. That's kind of my primary go-to right now. And then we did one that was a like a Joker themed, if you look on my Instagram, and it's purple, green, black, I think, are those colors, and they just did an awesome job. I want something that looked like the Joker was gonna use it, So, and I don't ever misplace it, right? You just sit on the firing line, you know exactly where it's. You don't go dial dope in somebody else's gun on accident.
They find Derek's gun very easily.
Yeah, I mean it's like that. Like if I lose it, I could contact NASA and they could find that thing from space. It's so bright. But if you think about it, like 98% of the guys at the match, or the competitors in the match in general, are the guy with the beard, the tan pants, and the black gun.
Yeah.
And I'm
sure.
the guy, and I have a beard, and I like tan pants. So like I can't be not a guy. I kind of like beard, don't want to get rid of that. Kind of like my pants. So I had to change up. I'm not the guy with the black gun, at least. There's one thing.
Well, the good thing about me is, well, I've seen them actually growing in popularity in our sport. I'm gonna chuck that up to Rick Reeves. He's kind of the godfather of the overalls. But between Rick Reeves and Jonathan Berry and me and Matt Partain, there's some overall guys out there. But if you don't want to wear them, don't ever try a pair on. That's all I got to tell you. Okay. Because they're tactical and they don't look tactical. You've got mag holders right here. Y'all caught me on laundry day. Okay. So sorry. Sorry to let everybody down, but
don't stand up.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you not in overalls. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen you not wearing overalls.
I don't even like seeing me not in overalls. Okay. So, but no, they've got a little Kestrel pocket on the side. I've got like a system that you can't alter the system or else you can't find anything and you misplace stuff. And so, but anyway, yeah, I think, Rick Reeves, we got to thank him for starting that trend. I've been wearing them a long time, but it makes total sense why someone would wear them in this sport. Nobody gets any butt crack pictures of you or anything like that. Super nice.
That must be nice because I always hear, "What are you, a plumber? Pull your pants." I'm like, "I'm shooting. Calm." I might have to give those a try sometime. So, Precision Rifle Expo is one of my favorite events ever. I went every year that it was here in Georgia. You're kind of taking over the reins of this from Phil this year. Give us a quick rundown on what we can expect at this event, and when and where it's going to be this year.
Yep. We're going to do it in the same place. It's going to be in Milliken, Texas, just outside Navasota, south of College Station. Lots of great places to stay. Expect a lot of the same vendors as last year and maybe a few more. The time frame is going to be a little earlier in the year. We're doing it on October 20th is the weekend that we're planning on hosting it. So set it in your calendars. October 20th, that weekend. And it's going to be just like last year, just hopefully a lot better weather. We had some pretty horrendous weather last year. It was cold and rainy, but that was also in November. So that's the plan. And, it was a big hit last year. I was surprised to see how many people were out there bundled up, taking classes in that freezing cold rain and still out there on the firing line. So I'm hoping to have quite a bit more attendees as last year than last year. So we'll.
Warm.
What's that?
It was not warm.
No, it was really, really cold. But moving it up is going to help out a lot, and I think it's going to help out with the guys that were trying to chase the rut in the hunting season. A lot of those guys were out in the deer lease and out in their deer stands. So try to get ahead of the schedule on that and let these guys have an opportunity to come out and see some of the nicest precision rifle equipment in the world. And then not only that, but get to shoot some of them, and look behind this glass that you only see in magazines and on the internet. That's unfortunately the world we live in right now. It's very rare to have such high quality products in box stores. So we're forced to hop on YouTube and watch somebody else's review of that product. Mm-hmm. For $40, you can come to the expo and get to not only look through it, but shoot through it. So,
yeah. And you get to look through it down 1,000+ yard range, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Versus like, oh, I can see the fishing aisle real good with this razor right here.
I tell you, this parallax zooms back to 40 yards. Pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. But if you've not been to Expo before, I went all 3 years. It was here in Georgia. It's $40. I've easily shot $40 worth of ammo. Like very easily. Like I probably shot $40 of ammo before lunch my first year. There's all sorts of cool things. I don't know exactly who's going to be there, what events they're putting on. But just shooting the guns, I know Vortex had a booth where they had all their different scopes set up. I think my favorite shooting thing, and not exactly for what we were shooting, but for the fact that we're going to teach you a thing here, was Jen, you remember Area 419's demo? You get down, you get down behind a rifle, no brake on it, and it's like, here, shoot 2 rounds. Show the gun's clear. All right, here's your brake. This is how you install it. Put the brake on the rifle. Get back down, shoot 2 rounds. And it was night and day difference. And that was before I shot my first match. I think that was the very first year that I went, which was about a month before my first match that I shot, my first PRS match that I shot. There was all sorts of cool demos like that. It's also where I caught the 22 bug shooting that KYO with the voodoo off of a barrel at 50, 60 yards, something like that.
I think
Was,
we shot 100, didn't we?
I don't think it was.
I think there was 100-yarder out there.
I mean, I know not on the KYL, I shot 220 from corner to corner on the Urban Bay at Arena, but all sorts of cool stuff. You get to shoot all sorts of things you've never shot before. In addition to that, there's the training classes from some of the smartest people out there. I know all 3 years I took Emil Praslik's swim class.
Yes. Yep.
Had about the same content every year, but I went from never shot a match to been shooting for a year to been shooting for 2 years every time I took this class, and I learned different things every time.
Sure.
And I'd go back and I'd be like, I wrote that down, but it just didn't click with me 2 years ago when I took this class. Is Frank Galley going to be there again?
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to him and see if he can come this year as well. We don't have an official head count of who's going to come, but once we start knowing those and locking them in, we'll be making posts and getting those guys to share it as well.
Yeah.
But that's the plan. A lot of people enjoy talking to Frank and getting his little fundamental class under their belt and learning from him.
Yeah, that was awesome too. Just because anytime listening to Frank is always fun. All right. So we're about at the midpoint of the show. Remember, if you're watching us live on Facebook, ask any questions you may have in the comments section of the video, and we'll ask it live on air. Other ways to catch us, you can always check back on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page. The videos stay up here forever. Then we usually upload to all the podcast apps the night after the show. And then everything eventually will also end up on the Shooter's Mindset YouTube page, which is an awesome place to go back and check out the last 404 episodes. So we've mentioned it a little bit before. In addition to just being a competitor and taking over the expo a little bit, you're also the owner of DI Precision. Tell us a little bit about what kind of products, services, and everything like that you offer.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. Thank you. Yeah, DI Precision, I call us the coolest rifle shop that nobody knows about. So, me and David Lott, we met back in, I think, 2018, and we started talking about, putting a rifle shop together, and we had, he had an amazing facility that we decided, man, we've got a lot of real estate over here that we can utilize. Let's build a rifle shop, something that tailors to strictly the products that we use in precision rifle sports, whether it be hunting or competition, and give these people, these clients, a place to come down and touch and feel all these products and get to use them before they, decide to buy them. And so we have 8,000 square foot that we operate out of in Brenham, Texas. We also have the ability to shoot on site. So that's a big deal when you go pick up your rifle, having the ability to get on the gun and shoot it right there before you leave. That was very important to me because I want people to have warm and fuzzies when they leave with their rifle. I want them to know how it performs. We also, have the ability to shoot 500 yards as well. So, that we can do kind of like an intro class when you pick up your rifle, and you can do a full turnkey type of system. So we offer kestrels, chronographs, we have the whole 9 yards. So if a guy wants a complete setup, like he has nothing, we wanted a shop where he could come get everything. And so that's what we offer at DI. And we're known for 22s. We have really kind of been in the groundworks of the 22 world before it started. I think guys were running, regular 22s, and they were trying to get their feet wet. And then we decided we need to build 22s that simulate a centerfire rifle. So if we want to shoot 22, it weighs the same, feels the same, and we just don't have to pick up brass and wear hearing protection, but everything else fundamentally is the same type of rifle. And so we started building Voodoos, Remaxes. We're currently building them on Curtis's as well. We love figuring out, these different platforms and making them shoot really well. Everything's tested before it leaves the shop. So, and then, all your hunting rifles, guys getting ready to go hunting. If you need a lightweight hunting rifle, reach out to me and we'll get you taken care of. And if you want to learn how to shoot it far, you can do that with me too. You can, set up times and train with me for a full day, a week or 2 weeks, whatever you want to get that confidence and going and putting a first round impact on a game animal. So, that's really what we wanted to offer as a turnkey company. You can come there and get everything.
That is really awesome. I think getting, having the ability to both get hands-on with what somebody's purchasing and actually shoot it is huge. Like, I got a text this afternoon from one of the guys at work, and he goes, so let's assume somebody wants to build a precision 22. What should they do? And I'm like, you should come to my match in a couple of weeks and touch every single gun out there, because I can tell you what's going to shoot accurately. I can tell you what fits me perfectly. I can tell you what doesn't work, but what I can't tell you is what is right for you. So being able to get hands-on with stuff is huge. Being able to get training and knowing how to use this thing, because you see people all the time, hi, I have 10 grand here and I don't know what to do. And you got a brand new gun and on the box it says my muzzle velocity is this. All right, so we're going to go back to way basics with this. So it's cool that you offer everything all at one spot.
Sure. Yeah. That's the trend we see, is that a lot of guys think that they can just buy their way into winning a match or buy their way into a top 10. And honestly, it comes down to just the knowledge is what gets you into that top echelon. If you're a competitor, or the guys that just want to go, hey man, I just want to dial the 700 and I want my bullet to hit where I aim. I'm going to tell them why that doesn't work and then explain to them how to make it work. And unfortunately, you can't get buff by not going to the gym. You got to go to the gym to get buff. And so I don't know anything about the gym or getting buff, but I do know that if you want to get first round impacts, you need to spend some time learning how to do it. Whether you take a training class from me or you take one from Philip Vallejo or the JTech guys up in Oklahoma, either one works. All those guys do great work, and I'm just a small guy that you can come do one-on-one classes with. I also put groups together. I don't take more than 5 students at a time. So reach out if you guys need me. I'd love to help. So
you got training. What if we're not in Texas? Like, let's say you're 13 hours from me, but you sell something I want. Can I buy it off of the interwebs? You
can. Yeah. You can go to diprecision.com. And, if you're looking for something special, we may or may not have it and just not have it listed on the website. So feel free to call us and ask us. David loves answering the phones. So he'll appreciate that. I don't have a whole lot of time to answer the phones. If you have my personal number, you can always shoot me a text. I try really hard at getting back to you, if not answering immediately. But if you need something special, just give us a shout. We may or may not have it kind of stashed away in the corner somewhere. And feel free to do that as well.
Awesome. And then you guys do full rifle builds. I can get blank and an action and chassis or stock, and you guys can throw everything together for me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I forgot to mention it, but a big portion of the clients that I tend to see are guys that call and they think that they want a certain thing, but they're unsure and they really want my opinion. I love to help consult your build for you. If you tell me what you're going to do with that rifle, I can kind of cherry pick what I consider be the most optimum products on the market for your specific point of use. And that way you have a purpose-built rifle. You don't have a rifle that does a lot of things good. You have a rifle that does something really great. And I think at the end of the day, guys will be more happy with that than a hodgepodge of stuff that they wish they could change a little bit, So that's a big portion of a reason why I think guys come to us is because, I've got a lot of experience shooting matches, and I know a lot about why rifles do certain things and what they're good at, and how to build the right one for you. So feel free to give us a call on that, and we'd love to help you kind of guide your build into something you need.
So this way I don't end up at a PRS match with like, say, a 7 PRC or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless you're Jonathan Berry, you get to do whatever you want. I mean, he was annihilating targets. It was so much fun to watch. It was just, we were just cracking up because he was running a 32-inch straight taper with a 338 Ultra can. I mean, when he stood this thing up beside him, it was like he was holding up a freaking, it was almost like the rifle was taller than he was, right? It was,
That's a beast.
yeah, it really broke up the monotony of the grind of a match,
I'm glad they got solid target mounting solutions out there though. I know I have a buddy that likes to shoot an extra spicy 308. And we were shooting one match, and like he shot right in front of me, and I'm, okay, I'm ready, I'm in the zone, close my eyes, I'm gonna shoot that target and that target and that target, and I gotta remember this, and then range cold, target down again. Thanks, Matt. So another thing I saw over there on the website is Ask Derek. What's Ask Derek?
Yeah, something we just recently started. I had actually, what started this was a really funny April Fool's video that I had made. I'm not sure if y'all watched that or not, but this was kind of a joke a long time ago that we'd planned this for a couple of years. But I said we should make an April Fool's joke where I have a lot of people that call and they're like, "Hey, how do you get the carbon ring out?" There's always this talk of what is a carbon ring, where's it at, what do you do with it, how do you get it out of your gun? Everybody just knows it's some voodoo of of an issue with rifles. And so I made a video and I stuck like a 12-inch drill bit in the chamber on a D-wall drill, and I just sat there and grinded the inside of the chamber to remove the carbon ring. And then at the end, I videoed like a brand new fresh cut chamber. It was all perfect, and told everybody this is what the after effects are after you use a drill bit to clean your carbon ring out.
Now you have everybody using a drill bit.
Well, I hopefully not. Hopefully you watched the entire video and saw that it was an April Fool's joke. But that kind of started this Ask Derek type deal. And so the plan is for us to accumulate a few questions in the Ask Derek, and then we're going to post either weekly or monthly videos on all the questions that we get asked, and try to knock them all out at one time. So if anybody wants to troll me, go ahead and send the Ask Derek stuff and see if I post it or not. And yes, I am going to do the one on how to use a porta potty with overalls. I will do that one because real struggle with some people. So I'll definitely get that out there soon.
I'll be honest, Derek, I'm not sure I want to see that.
Yeah, I know, probably not, but the technique is honestly pretty impressive. I've got lots of experience in that area, so I think I'll wear some long johns underneath. That way we can keep it PG. But
that opens up so many questions I've never thought about.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I want to ask. I'm wondering if it is more or less challenging than porta johns and tactical yoga britches, because I hear that's a pain.
Yeah.
No wonder the lines for the porta potties are so long.
A few extra steps, okay, to ensure everything is safe and sanitary. So
we got quite a few lives, but I wanted to hit this one from Ben. He said, "Good day from Australia." I didn't do a very good Australian accent there. Does Derek do much in the rimfire space? Which he does. What are your thoughts on the longer barrels and faster twist straights that we're starting to see?
Well, Ben, yeah, you're touching on a fairly loaded question, but it is definitely the topic of discussion in rimfire world, at least as of probably in the last 6 months. And all the testing that we've seen at DI, and we test them all after they come off the lathe, is that longer barrels 24, 25, even 26-inch barrels still perform extremely well at long range. I know that some people say you get, you know, parasitic drag after a certain amount of barrel length, but in our testing, we don't experience that. And we also do a lot of 13 twist barrels. We've seen them produce extremely good groups at distance. If you're a shooter who shoots long range more often, I would recommend going with a tighter twist barrel than a 16 twist. If you're just shooting, PRS type matches where the meat and potatoes is 150 to 200 yards, you're fine with a 16 twist barrel. You're not missing out on, anything with doing that. Lots of 16 twist barrels are winning matches. So now, if you're shooting a little further than that, I'd probably recommend a little bit tighter twist barrel.
What does the texture rate do to barrel life?
Well, with rimfire, you don't really concern yourself with barrel life because it never produces enough temperature to really erode throats and lands and that kind of thing. So I don't think that you have any issues there. Now, with some tighter twist, you might have to clean a little bit more often. But even then, I think you're still really, really fine, especially compared to center fire shooters. But I do plan on shooting a lot more rimfire matches coming up. I'm just, keep myself pretty busy. And it seems like every time I build myself a rimfire rifle, David ends up selling it to somebody. So I'm kind of held back in that regard. But we're building one right now. It's super cool. It's a Cerakoted Leopold chassis. It's an MPA chassis, but with Leopold logo on the side of it. It looks super cool. It's actually my old MPA BA comp chassis. So I'll be posting pictures of it here pretty soon.
That's awesome.
And Ben asked a little follow-up. Is the long range gain at the expense of shorter range accuracy and 50 to 100? He's looking at a 24-inch barrel at
No.
14 twist as a reasonable compromise in an RL and an RL22X.
No, not at all. Even our 13 twist barrels that we test are absolutely insane accurate, even winning bench rest matches. I mean, in the proper conditions, and that's the only downfall with DI is we always have conditions where we're at. And what I mean by that is wind or wind mainly, and it's affected so much more with rimfire. But even in conditions, we have seen some remarkable groups. And when I say, one hole, I mean hole and a half, 0.2, 0.3 tops with 5 and 10 shot groups at 50 yards. I mean, they have really, really performed well. So I don't think that you're giving up anything by going with a tighter twist. If anything, in my opinion, it's a little bit of insurance on those sometimes longer range stages. So, in fact, David shot he shot a group the other day at 300, and we all just looked at each other after he had shot that group and was like, how did that happen? The numbers, sometimes it's an anomaly when you look at the numbers of the velocity spread at distance, and these bullets still tend to find the same spot. It doesn't even make sense. And that's probably going to be left up to a lot smarter guy than me. Probably one of those applied ballistics guys. We'll leave that up to them to figure that stuff out. But and I think they are. I think they're focusing on some rimfire things, and so they're going to come up with some cool answers and what works and what doesn't. They have the ability to really do some extensive testing, and so yeah, I would be looking for that in the future. But good question, Ben. Appreciate that.
All right. One last slide. Well, first, Keith Baker said, congrats on your win.
Thanks, homie. I appreciate it, man.
And then Leland is getting into Precision 22, and he's wondering if there's one thing specifically to improve his shooting skills besides for just practice.
Let's see. Let me read that again.
So he said he's just getting into Precision 22. He's trying to weed through all the information, get better, and he's just looking for something besides for just practicing that you think can help.
Okay. well, as humbly as I can say this, come see me. I can help you a lot, and tell you what to practice. That's probably the biggest thing I would take away from this, and it's not just me, it's just any training in general. Spend time, money, and effort on training initially, because guys that are doing this and doing it well, they can point you in the right direction of what to learn and why to learn it, instead of you wasting a lot of time laying prone and just sitting there shooting at the same target over and over, and not learning anything, or worrying about your SDs and your ESs when you're a reloader. And none of that stuff matters in a match. I mean, to an extent, right? But the meat and potatoes of this are what training classes will help you with. And if I can give you some pointers, it would be to practice building an efficient, effective position over and over again, and do it to where it is so subconscious, to where any object that you see on a daily basis, you immediately know exactly how you would place your bag on that prop and how you would break a shot at distance off of it. That would be probably my number one tip, is to practice building positions and breaking clean shots. That's probably what I would help you with. Anything other than that, just reach out to some training guys. Like I said, JTAC, I know Philip Vallejo does some, or if you want one-on-one classes, I offer those. Whatever stuff you're looking for, just reach out and do some training. It'll pay off dividends for you in a short amount of time. So
I agree with you on that. The positional stuff. I got that advice early on, and it, well, not super early on, but early enough on that it helps, to be able to find a low, medium, and high position, like a sitting, a kneeling, a standing position,
yeah.
and be able to find it no matter what it's on, and just find weird household objects at different levels and practice getting into position on them. And then it doesn't matter if it's a rock or a roof or a helicopter, or you're just getting in a position, barricade, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I will also second that getting some training from somebody that can watch you. It's one thing to sit at home and practice everything, and you might be practicing the wrong way and not realize it. But when you have somebody like Derek, or somebody that can watch and say, no, you need to move your right foot here, you need to do this, you're unsteady there, your
Andy
arm
Slade,
around.
Andy Slade does a lot of training, one-on-one training as well. So he's an East Coast guy. He'd be great to go talk to as well. Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. I was going to say something else, but I forgot.
It left you. So recently, you and DI Precision you're kind of important stuff now. You're big stuff, because you made an appearance on the 5th largest gun tubers page out there.
Yeah.
I didn't Google that or anything, but you are one place under Grand Thumb that Mike Lilly was on a couple months back.
Yeah. It's I know I've made it to the big time. I'm on the shooter's mindset now, and every morning I got a limousine that takes me to work. I've got a helicopter that flies me anywhere. No, honestly, it is pretty exciting. I feel very, very blessed and humbled by the fact that he reached out to me.
So first, for anybody that doesn't know, if they live under a rock, there was a video made on Colion Noir's page.
Yeah.
And so there's some collaboration there going on. So tell us kind of how it came about, and then tell us about it.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll give you the backstory, a short rundown of it. But about a year and a half ago or so, Daniel Defense sent, I think, Colion a rifle, and he wanted to get some training down here in Texas. And so they introduced us together, and they actually, Daniel came down, and we trained for a couple days on the Delta 5 Pro, and just kind of gave a review of that rifle. And I gave him a small little taste of what a PRS stage was like at the very end. And if anybody ever looks up that video, at the end of the video, you'll see I've put him through a little stressor. And it was I'm not going to say complicated. It was basically a 650 KYL rack with a 440 yard follow-up shot. So in between each one, I told him he couldn't touch his scope. So he had to do a hold over or hold under. And so he cleaned the stage at 650 yards. And I think that set a hook in him pretty good to want to, maybe start competing in the PRS. And so he reached out to me probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago and started talking to me about maybe doing some more training in regards to competition. And we talked about it, and that's what we're doing. So we're gonna I'm gonna try to get him prepared to shoot the gap grind in September. So he's gonna be my amateur, and we're gonna try to do really well at the match and grow the sport, get a lot of people involved, and share this amazing craft that we all know and love, long range precision. So I'm super excited about it. He's a great guy, and he's extremely passionate about shooting in general, but even precision rifle. I mean, you can tell he thoroughly enjoys shooting long range. So I'm super pumped about it.
We were talking a little bit earlier before the show started about this and about how we think that'll help grow the sport, because precision rifle is like the coolest sport ever, and a lot of people don't know about it. So having some of that visibility with a big gun page that realizes like, oh, PRS is not boring, it's super fun, because that is a misconception. People are like, how do you shoot that? It's so boring. I'm like, this is not bench rest. It is not boring.
Mhm.
You're moving on the clock. You're trying to get it like that time. People are like, yeah, 10 shots in 90 seconds. Who cares? I'm like, yeah, you have no clue what it's like. Yeah, like, it is fast paced, moving. And so getting some people that are kind of gun people, but more of the mainstream gun people and pages
Mhm.
involved in PRS, I think really can help grow this sport, which is so much fun. And I
Sure.
think
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited about it. I felt blessed when you asked me about it, because I was like, man, this is a great opportunity for not me or DI, but just for the industry as a whole. That's what we need. Is we need more content around our sport, and show people that yes, you can make 1,000-yard shot off a fence post, and you can do it within 10 to 12 seconds. And people just don't they can't even compute that in their brain, because it just doesn't seem possible. But yeah, I'm super excited about it, and I think we're gonna make a lot of content, hopefully, and post a few reels and a few teasers along his little journey here. But you know, I'm looking forward to it. This is actually my first year shooting the gap grind. I shoot well at Collis or at K&M. I've shot the Collis match a few times and done really well, and obviously I've shot the finale and AG Cups there. But yeah, this is going to be super exciting for our sport. I'm super thankful for it. So
That's going to be awesome. And the gap grind is literally my favorite match of every year. It was my first match that I shot, and I've never missed a gap grind. I shot as an amateur 1 year, as a pro 3 years. And then since then, I've been so busy. I'm not focused on my shooting like I should be. So I've been out there ROing, and even doing that is a fun time, because yes, there's competition, but the match is truly all about the amateurs. Um, and it's a great time, great people, everybody's having fun. Um, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure you guys will enjoy it.
yeah, yeah, I like K&M. I mean, that's a really nice range, and I think it'd be a great first match for him.
Yes, it is the best of first matches. It is there's the only downside to it is it sets the bar so high that like you shoot this 400 and something person match, and you're wrapping up mid-afternoon every day. There's never any delays. It's ran great. Um, so speaking of things that have been at K&M, we always see you every year at AG Cup. You're always a hoot at these matches. Are you going to be competing in the AG series this year?
No, I'm not actually. I had kind of thought about it, and then at the very first match of the season, my son was actually born that weekend, and so I missed out on that match. And I said, you know what? Maybe this is just a sign that I should just chill this year, spend some time with family, shoot a few local matches, try to help out some new guys, and focus on the business and training. And I got the expo going on this year, so I got a lot of stuff kind of coming down the pipe here. And I chose to sit this one out, but I'll definitely be tuning in and cheering on my buddies and that kind of thing. So I might talk. I might come and try to RO potentially. I'll ask Ken if that's something that they need or whatever. But yeah, I chose to sit this one out. Sometimes shooting since 2016, and really putting forth a lot of effort and shooting a lot of matches, it's good to take a little break, and relax. And I think it actually helped me win the match last weekend or whenever it was. Just because I wasn't in a struggle. I wasn't in a grind of like having to get load development done or brass prep or anything like that. It was just kind of a throw it together and be able to relax and not be stressed about it. And it was a match in my backyard too. So, being able to slow down and just focus on a few select matches, I think will be beneficial to me this year. So I'm looking for a qualifier match, and I might go shoot Tate's and John Kyle's match in August. So, and then after that, just the finale, so pretty relaxed year for me, which is really, really nice.
It is nice, I think, occasionally to sit back, and the sport takes so much time. So it's nice sometimes to sit back and enjoy family a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think they were my little good luck charm. They were there cheering me on. And I'll have to give old Tyler Jacobs. He brought me some gummy bears on day 2. So now we've started a tradition. I have to have gummy bears at every match. So if you're listening, Tyler, there you go, bud. There's your shout out. Thanks for the gummy bears.
The pictures of you walking around the match with the little baby holder on your belly.
Oh yeah.
Those were great.
Oh, he's a little chunker, man. We're super blessed. He don't miss a meal. I promise you that much. That dude eats more than I do.
Where'd he get that from?
No, well, I don't know. So he's hard to keep up with. It seems like as soon as you finish one bottle, he's ready for another.
So do you have any specific goals with shooting this year since you're not shooting the AG Cup, or just literally take it easy, do what you can, help out?
Yeah. So, believe it or not, I've yet to win a bullet. I've wanted a bullet, and I don't care which one. I'd be happy with a gold one. That'd be great. But the effort it takes into achieving that is pretty tough. But the thing that I have going for me this year is where the match is held. And that match up in Kansas there, that could be anybody's match very easily. And so it doesn't matter if you have 300 points going into that match. I mean, you could run away with it potentially and really make up some ground. So my goal is to find me a qualifier match, hopefully win it, maybe 95+% and be sitting in a pretty good position into taking a top 10 bullet home at the end of the year. That's my goal. That and win the gap grind.
That would be awesome. I mean, you're beating 400 people if you win that match. Like that's a pretty noble accomplishment.
Well, and me, I could care less about me, but if I could get Colian to take home even hardware, even if we just podiumed that match, what that could do for our sport, the publicity, and how proud he should be for finishing that well, I think would do amazing things for our sport and our industry. So that would be the goal for me, minus my personal stuff, which is just do well at the finale and try to win a bullet. But I hope me and Colian do well at the gap grind.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
The gap grind is definitely something that's designed to help grow our sport. It's where you send pro shooters out to recruit new shooters and say, you've been asking about this. This is what you'll have to do. Come on, let's go. That's how I got into it. We could blame that on Jennifer making me be her am one year, and now I'm like, it's like that first hit of crack for free, and now I'm broke and have lots of cool guns. Do you think that the AG Cup helps to grow our sport?
I do. Yeah, I do 100%. And the reason why, and I think that this gets overlooked quite a bit, but um, we'll just call it the top echelon of shooters, which is what the AG Cup is tailored for. Those shooters do a lot more for the sport than people realize. My phone it never stops. I mean, I get text messages and phone calls from guys all the time just looking for, and if anyone else listen, hey, bring them on, buddy. I'm not mad about it, but I'm the king of what we call quick questions. Hey, I got a quick question. Hey, I got a quick question. And those questions turn into answers, and answers turn into new products, and it turns into those guys shooting more matches, and it turns into a lot of great things. And without something to continue to motivate or get top end shooters excited about stuff, some of those guys probably won't continue to shoot. They'll reach that echelon of, hey, I've won a handful of matches and that was fun and cool, and all right, I'm gonna hang it up. I've been there, done that kind of thing. But the AG Cup keeps that carrot hanging in front of our face, because now there's a little juice for the squeeze, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's an exciting thing for us, and we love to be able to shoot a bunch of matches and it not cost us much money. There's not many people that make money per se doing what we do, so if you can break even at it, that allows you to keep going and keep doing it and keep giving back. And so that's, I think, what a lot of us strive for. And the AG Cup is a great thing for that. And then it motivates kind of that top third shooter to want to be an AG Cup shooter, right? And go do that. So I think it's a great thing for the sport. I think it adds a whole nother element.
There have been some shooters that their first year they shot pretty good, so the next year they went for AG Cup and actually did pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. What'd you say?
Sandbaggers.
Oh.
No. Where do you see PRS in 5 years? What do you think the future of the sport is?
Well, I think it's in really good hands. Ken and Missy, they are salt of the earth, just great people, and have true passion for this sport and the industry, and fresh mindsets, right, is always a good thing. I think Shannon grew it into something that was pretty awesome, and really, really great to see it in Ken's hands as well. I think that it's going to continue to grow. I think that new products are going to be developed, and I think it's just going to continue to get bigger and bigger. There's a lot of crossover from 3-gun guys and IDPA shooters that are getting kind of burned out on, just the muscle memory and the just repetitiveness of that type of shooting discipline. I know some sporting clay guys that have crossed over here recently, and all those disciplines are a lot of fun, but precision rifle adds another element, which is Mother Nature, right? And your ability to read what she's doing and what she's not doing, and how she affects your projectile from here to there. And so when you add in a little bit of science and a little bit of kind of, fun stuff to it, it's not just how fast can you break this shot where it needs to go. It's how fast can you make a subconscious intuition call on what you think the Mother Nature is doing now. And that's what I love about it. It kind of evens the playing field. So I think it's going to continue to grow, and I think we'll get a lot of crossover, and things will just keep on keeping on. I hope. Obviously, I've altered my life around the hopes that precision rifle continues to grow. I'm seeing more and more guys that don't want box rifles off the shelf. They want a rifle that I've got a lot of rounds through in a lot of really bad conditions, and they keep on ticking. Very reliable products, stuff that'll work up in the mountains, that'll work in the desert, and South Texas or whatever. So I see it continuing to get bigger, and I really hope it does, because I love it. Absolutely love it.
I think you're right. I think it's going to keep growing. And like you said, the PRS is more of a thinking game. So I shot 3-gun before and I loved 3-gun. It was fun. It's still, that's a fun sport. But to me, I can shoot that stage and you can shoot that stage and Greg can shoot that stage and it'll be the same stage.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas PRS, I can shoot the stage and it has a left to right at 15 miles an hour. And you can shoot the stage and it has a right to left.
Oh yeah.
Miles an hour, and Greg can shoot it and it has no wind at all.
I like the way you're thinking.
And it's like, dude, you had no wind. It could change in the middle of your stage, right? You have to watch that. And in the middle of the stage, I remember the time at MPA, we were shooting a match at Arena and the wind was like steady and like literally mid stage, the wind completely just went, no, I'm going to go that way. And you could see it was rainy and everybody was squeezed out of that pavilion. And there were at least like 58 kestrels up in the air because everybody to figure out like, what's the wind now? Because it had changed. And so to me, that gives it such a dynamic, fun aspect that you have to react even on the clock,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And completely change your plan up of what you're doing. So I love it. I think it's a good thinking game. It's fun. And I think people are starting to realize that.
Yeah. It's a chess game, it's who can get Mother Nature figured out really quickly. That's really what it comes down to. How fast can you get her figured out? And if anybody thinks they got it figured out, they're wrong, right? Because she'll always turn around and slap you. Unless you're, certain people that have clean matches, which is a new hotness apparently.
I'm gonna have to try that one day. Giggles. It sounds fun.
Well, right. Yeah. Those are my goals now when I shoot. Just don't miss.
That's right. Well, that's a good goal.
It's a good plan. I'm gonna have to try that sometime.
Yeah, it's easy. Just don't miss and you'll win.
Yeah. I never thought about that before.
Miss less, right? Greg, okay. We got any lives?
We are good on the live side.
All right. Well, I think we can wind this down to shout outs. We will start with Greg.
All right. I don't have my tripod behind me. I gotta find that. We have GSL suppressors, my nice little pew quieters. You want to talk about fun shooting when you have a suppressed 22? It's amazing. Shooters and sharpshooters of Augusta, our local indoor and outdoor ranges. PDC custom, beautiful lime green rifle chassis right over there. Shooters World powder, Hunter's HD gold for my blind butt to be able to see these targets we're talking about. And then Fix It Sticks and Vortec.
Fix It Sticks and Vortec. All right, Derek, how about you?
Well, there's a lot of really awesome products that I run, and I would love to give them a shout out. Starting with Masterpiece Arms Matrix Pro chassis. It's a great chassis, and I think Phil and MPA are constantly innovating and producing better and better stuff. So big shout out to them. Krieger barrels. John Krieger's been building barrels for 40 years, and it's obvious when you shoot one because they just are extremely accurate. Run impact actions, probably the most reliable action on the market, at least in my opinion. I've got a lot of rounds through them, and they just keep on ticking. I shoot for Leupold Mark V PR2 reticle. It's crushing matches all over the country nonstop, and I have 100% been on board with it since I started using them, and they are incredible for PRS matches and hunting. So We Bad Bags. I run We Bad Bags out of College Station, Texas. And speaking of bags, I forgot to mention a product, Rebel Rooster Bag Wax. Okay, to sound like a commercial, but Rebel Rooster Bag Wax is a buddy of mine who we started talking about waxing bags, and he said, man, I think I can make a better wax for these bags. And so he did. And you can buy it on DI Precision's website. You can buy it from rebelroostersupplycompany.com. You can buy it from WeBad. I think Armageddon Gear even sells it as well. But it protects your bag, and it allows your bag to bite onto barricades better and support your rifle through recoil better. So you actually feel like there's less recoil in the rifle. Now, obviously, the rifle is recoiling the same amount, right? But the felt recoil is a lot less, allowing you to spot your impacts a lot better. So look up Rebel Rooster Bag Wax, and I do run Trigger Tech flat shoe diamond triggers. Love them. They're freaking sweet. I've been running them since day one. Yeah, that's that. Ooh, that's that new, huh? Yeah, that's that new AR one. What's that one called? The blue one?
This is the AR-15 Diamond.
Yeah.
Single stage, 1.5 to 4 pounds.
Yep, they showed that at the Precision Rifle Expo last year. They had that out there. So sweet. I run Eric Cortina tuner brakes. It's a muzzle brake and a barrel tuner all in one. And it does a great job of reducing recoil and allowing you to tune your load if you need to. I know I'm going to forget somebody. Thunder Beast bipods. I love Thunder Beast suppressors, but I don't run a suppressor in a match, but I do run their bipod. I feel like it's an awesome bipod. So, no, I'm going to forget somebody. Sorry if I did. Outlaw anodizing. Thank you guys for doing awesome anodizing work.
That's right. Well, I just want to shout out you for coming on and spending 2 hours of your Tuesday night hanging with us and telling us about how we can grow the sport and kind of what's going on with you and DI Precision and all that. So appreciate that and all the work that you do to help grow the sport. I know you're a huge advocate. We've talked after AG Cup before. I know at the dinners we've stood around and talked about how can we grow the sport, because I think you kind of have the same mindset as we do. As it's such a fun sport. We really want to see it grow and take off. So thank you for all the work that you do for that, because I know a lot of it is like this year you're talking about volunteering and ROing and all that you do. We just appreciate that you are trying to help grow the sport and all of that.
Yeah, you bet.
So much thanks to you for that. And with that, it will be a wrap for episode 405, and we will see everybody next time.
See you guys.